Hello everyone, welcome back. Hope everybody's doing good. Today is another beautiful sunny day here in Da Nang, Vietnam. As you can see, the sun. So it's a pretty beautiful day again. This weather has just been incredible. I mean, for right in the rainy season, and after we had that typhoon, I mean, it's been just beautiful and sunny. You know, it's just been really nice. And so always out enjoying the weather, and right now the weather is perfect because it's not too humid. It's just right. You're not sweating. It's starting to get a little bit chilly. You're going to have to start wearing sweaters soon, so it's that time of year. And we like that time of year because it's time to break out the winter sweaters. And, I have two season clothes. I have winter and I have summer. And so, yeah, it's almost time to change the closet. But doing some work up there at the neighbors. You can see up there, they're up there doing some work. But one more thing is that the car charger, I've been charging the car during the day so my solar panels the sun can charge it for me. So we used it this morning, but I brought it back and put it on the charger. So from now on, I'm going to charge it during the day so I can have free charging. And, it's really nice. I highly suggest solar panels to anybody that's here or building. Like I said before, really great. But today I want to talk about something else. Regarding the property and the land, and how legally how it works here. And so to do that, we'll go right out here, and I'm starting to enjoy the patio I put out here. As you can see, I bought a table and chairs and an umbrella. So we'll do this out here and see how it is for the first time. Let's see. How do I look? Okay. So, yeah, I want to talk about the land. And I want to show you guys something that's really important regarding land. Right here. This is the pink book. This is the holy grail of property. You have to have this. This is everything. So, whenever you sell the land, they'll transfer the names on the back here. But this is most important. And what you have to do is, a lot of times if you want a loan from the bank, if you want to buy the property or you have a loan, this is what you use. This is collateral. So how the loans here work, I talked about it before. The loans is, it's 50%. So you have to have 50%, and then the bank will put up 50%. I'm sure it varies, but that's the basic line. It's not like in the States. I'm used to in the States where, you put up 20%, and then you can get a loan for, 30 to 40 or sometimes 50 years and only pay interest for the first 25 years. But here, you have, you pay the 50, the bank gets the other 50. And I think I told you before, you have two payments every month. You have the principal payment and you have the interest payments. So we did have a loan in the very beginning on the land, because when properties come up here in this area, I mean, you have to move fast because they're gone within a night. Really, that's happened to me before. So this land came up. We, I put the deposit down. I put money down, and then to secure it. And then the last payment, I got a little loan from the bank. And actually, the loan process here was pretty simple. Everything's in my wife's name. She got the loan, even though she's never had any, payment history. Well, she's had a little loan years ago that she paid, but no, like I'm used to in America, where you have this credit score and you have to develop credit through the years, and something happens, you go back down and up. But she's called, they came over, we talked. It was a very nice, very easy. Did a little bit of paperwork, and then within a couple days, we paid for the rest of the land with the loan. And when we do that, the bank will hold on to this until you pay it off, and then you get the pink book. So you have to make a lot of copies of this if you ever plan on getting a loan. So you need to make 10 copies of this, because wherever you go, you need a copy of the pink book, like to get, the building certificate, to get everything. You definitely need copies, so just keep in mind. So it was a really easy process, the loan. And we had that loan for about, 5 months while the house was being built, because the plan was, we'll keep the loan, and then once we finish the house, then we'll pay it off. Because at the time, we were renting a house just a couple doors down here, so that was, a chunk every month, and then also this loan, there's a couple chunks you pay every 3 months on the house rent, and you pay every month on the loan. And how they do the loan payments here is, whatever bank you get the loan from, you have to open up an account at that bank. And so when it's time to make the payment, they'll message you 5 days in advance, because the payment varies because it's at a variable. And they'll message you how much it's going to be that month. And so you put money in the account, and they just withdraw it and take it. And so that's what we did for 6 months. And so we decided to pay the loan off, a couple weeks ago. And, I was thinking it's going to be a long process to pay it off. Like it might be, 30 days to go through it, or 40 days. And just, that's what I'm used to, living in the States. Everything is a long process, because, I don't know, they just want to make everything, difficult. Like they don't really want you to pay off the loan, and, but I was really surprised when we decided to pay off the loan. And, to do that, I'd have to transfer money. And what I do is I do a wire transfer, a bank-to-bank wire transfer from America, my bank, to my wife's bank here. And that is really simple. I mean, I've had to transfer quite a bit of money, and every time it comes within a day in her account. They have a limit of $50K a day from my bank. But the Vietnam bank, you can do about $3 billion a day. So $3 billion is probably, let me check. I want to make sure. So the bank here, if you want, you can transfer, let me see. So you could transfer about $115,000 a day. That's their limit. And my bank, or my wife's bank, was really easy. Every time it came in, they put it right into her account within 24 hours. And see, Vietnam never ends, man. Construction, noise, noise, noise. But so the bank was really simple. And another thing which I really like about living here in Vietnam is that I have access to everybody. Like the bank, my bank person, I have her number. So anything I say, hey, I'm going to be doing a wire transfer, look out for it. Okay, we'd have direct contact, through messaging, and it makes it really nice. If I was in America, I couldn't message the bank. You'd have to call the 800 number and it'd be on the hold, and you know how it is. So, you have access to everybody here. I have access to my dentist, I have his number, message back and forth, real simple. I have access to the post office, easy messaging back and forth right away. So, just, it really is convenient. And it's really, you don't have to worry about the banking system here. They're really professional, they're really good. We've never had any negative experience with banking here, even with the amounts of money that go through. It's just been really a positive experience doing business here. Far as purchasing land, also, the realtor that I deal with was really great. I've used him for a number of years. Really nothing to worry about. And so back here, the pink book, once I want to go back to paying off the loan, we thought it was going to be just not, maybe 30 days, then probably another 60 days to get the paperwork. But my wife showed me, and we went over it, because when we asked the bank, hey, we want to pay it off, and they have this, just an app. It was on my wife's phone, on her app, and it has the loan amount from the bank and also the payoff amount. So there was, if you pay off the loan, there is a fee to pay it off early. So it was really easy on the app. So she just put in the numbers, transferred the money, boom, that was done. And that afternoon we went down to the bank and we got the pink book. Very simple. And am I like half in the shadow here? It looks like it. So yeah, the sun's coming through there. So let me go inside. Just so you know, there's a view of my deck. Anybody wondering, that's my friend, Kim and David. They both have a blog and they're building a house right now. So you should check it out. All right. Let's go back inside. Yeah, so everything was very nice, simple. And let's trying to get some lights on here. That one. There we go. Isn't that better? Yeah, much better. So yeah, I would suggest, suggest anybody that's plan on retiring here or purchasing a home, or it was a great experience. And if anybody ever needs help or suggestions or anything, you can always message me. Also, the number one, the thing is, one of the most important things is finding a partner that you can trust. You know, with Vietnam, you could find whatever you're looking for, as far as a partner. If you're looking just for, to hang out for a day or a night, you can find that. That is available. But, but you need to find the right person, because if you don't, it could be a nightmare, for people. I've seen it a lot of times, and, I was very extremely lucky, that I found my wife. And a lot of times I was living half in America and half the time here. And, I would be gone for 6 months, 4 months, and I just knew that she was the right one. Because when you come here, you're a foreigner, so you're, like, people look at you that you have money, and especially if you're from America, apparently they think you're rich when you get born in America. But when I was single here in 2016, when I started coming here, I would just always, not test, but I wanted to see if the girl at the time I was dating, if she was interested in me or just interested in what I can give her. And a lot of times, it's just what I can give her. And I always never gave any money. If they asked me for money, because, you'll hear the stories, my family's sick, or, all the stories that you get, and I would always say no. But when I realized, like, that you did like me for me, not because of the money, and then, I'm open to everything. So my wife always was good to me. I could always trust her, because we've done a lot of, business dealings together. We've done a lot of stuff. Even when I'm in America for 6 months, I could always count on her. I can always trust her. Her family's never asked me for anything. She has a great family, and, and I was just really fortunate to be able to find a person that really cares about you and will take care of you. And I can tell you that the Vietnamese women, I think they're like some of the most beautiful women in the world. And if they love you, they will take care of you. They will be good to you. They will be loyal to you. And that's been my experience. A lot of times they're always happy. She's always nice to me. And, that's when I realized, a couple of years ago, that she's the one for me. She's the one I want to spend the rest of my life with. And, we did meet at a coffee shop. And, the first time I met her, we didn't even speak. Because she didn't know English, and I really didn't know Vietnamese. So it was just, it was just interesting. And, that night we rode around on a motorbike and watched fireworks, and I dropped her off. And I waited like a week. I didn't hear from her, so I messaged her back, and then she goes, oh yeah, then we met again. And then I asked her, well, how come I didn't hear from you? She goes, well, when I seen you the first time, I said I would never see you again. It's like, oh, okay. And then she goes, well, I saw you again because, you smelled good. I'm like, I smelled good? Okay. So, she was just different. And, there was just something about her that I always was thinking that she was going to be the one. And, I've put the test to make sure that You know, she's with me for me, not from what I can give her. And that's really important because you hear a lot of stories about this. And, you know, like I said, there's are girls that are look at you like an ATM, but you got to be careful. If that happens, you got to say no, because it'll never end. If you you know, if you associate with a girl that's always asking you for money, it'll never end. She'll keep asking and keep asking. And, you know, you got to be really careful, you know. You got to keep an eye out and watch, and, you know, if that continues, you have to put an end to it, because it'll never end. And also, you know, I don't want to be, you know, rude or anything, but if they get mad at you, they can never, you know, you don't know how many other people they're doing this to. So it's hard to, in that kind of relationship, for them to be faithful to you. So I don't know if that sounds okay or not, but that's just how it is. So, you know, I know a lot of people here, foreigners here, that are, you know, in with the wrong situation. And that goes pretty much anywhere. I mean, anywhere in the world, right? I mean, but if you find the right person, you'll be in good hands. And, you know, my wife is always grateful. Anything that we do, she's grateful. And that, you know, that's different from me coming from America. It's like the reverse of in the States. And, you know, I really came to love Vietnam. You know, it was just, you know, back in America, I had different businesses, and I just, to give you my Vietnamese connection, is that I end up owning a couple of nail salons, and that's where I started getting the Vietnamese connection. Because I'm like, oh, these, you know, that's, so I started coming to Vietnam, and that's when I first started traveling a little bit. And, you know, I just fell in love with this country. And when, the best way to describe it is like, you know, say America, for example, if there was no drugs, okay, if there was no homeless, you know, there was no doctors pushing, you know, Vicodins and, you know, Xanax and all this stressful stuff, pushing people to take that stuff. You know, there's no crazy people. Can you imagine how great America would be? No homeless, no, you know, no drugs. That's the number one thing, drugs. Drugs is a major, major problem, because it makes, and that's pharmaceutical drugs too, from the doctor, that, you know, you think you need something. He tries, oh, I'm stressing a lot. Can I have something? But the problem is that it messes with your head. Once you start taking something, you know, it's mentally makes you irrational thinking. So that's how Vietnam is. It's very safe. The police here, they don't have guns. They don't have bulletproof vests. They're just walking around normal, not a care in the world. You know, when when I go back to America and you see police, they're in body armor and just on guard, and it's just weird to see two different, from Vietnam, happy, relaxed, no problems, no stress, to America was just problems, stress, drugs, you know, people hating their own country, people rooting for their country to fail. One side or the other, they all hate each other. You know, they're fighting each other. They don't want this side to have good things or that side. You know, it should, you know, and here, everybody loves their country. They all are united, they're together. The government is good. They do things to help the people. They do things to better the lives of people here. You know, if you get sick, you just go to the hospital and they take care of you. And you know, it's just really pleasant experience going to the hospital, you know. And when I was in Vietnam to be here for 3 months at a time, and when I have to go back, I was so sad to have to leave. You know, I used to go back to America just, you know, as soon as you get on that plane and you're, you know, when you're flying an Asian airline, it's like so happy. This, you know, the service is amazing. But then when I get to America and take the domestic flight, I mean, the service is terrible. The people are grumpy. The people have attitudes. Everybody's walking around with their chest up. I mean, you know, just, I don't want to bash on America, but it's just, things are just different when you see somewhere else, you know, how it is here. You know, here you could see somebody and smile, and they'll smile back at you, and they'll ask you, hey, you want coffee? You want to, you know, and you could develop a friendship by just saying hi. In America, if you're looking at somebody, they're like, they want to fight you. You know, what are you looking at? You looking at me? You know, it's like, it's just totally different. And you don't realize, you know, when you're in that, when I'm in America for a long time, you don't realize that's how it is. But once you move to somewhere else and you're living differently in a different country and things are different, when you come back to America, it is an eye-opener. I mean, when I went back, I was here for 2 years one time and went back, and it opened my eyes to just the brainwashing that the television that is, the brainwashing of trying to make you think you need some kind of medication because you have some kind of problem. It just really opened my eyes and realized that, you know, what do I want in my retirement? Do I want to live here in America for my retirement, or do I want to live, you know, somewhere else in Vietnam where, you know, I really just enjoy being here? And that's why I decided to retire here, because, you know, if you're, you know, older in life and you retire, say you get $1,500 or $2,000 a month, here you can live off $1,500. You can live very well. You know, you can get rent for a nice apartment for $500, sometimes $300, and you could have an extra $1,000 just to live. In America, you got nothing coming if you got $1,500 or $2,000. You can't even pay your rent, you know, and they don't have, you know, I just hope things will change at some point. You know, it's just a very stressful life over there, you know. And I see Viet people here, they always think America's the best, or they want to move to America, you know, and they see it on Facebook or on TV, how great it is, the movies, but man, it's a different ball game when they get there. And it changes them, you know, it changes them living over there. Yeah, you can make good money, but, you know, everything's 4 times as expensive, and it's a shocker, you know, to them. And then when they get their check, you know, they're like, what's this tax? What's this? You know? So, you know, I tell people here, like, that live here, I go, you got to understand, you live in the most wonderful country, the most beautiful city in the world. It's very nice here. You're very safe. You're not worried about being attacked. You know, you walk around at 3 in the morning with not a care in the world. And that means a lot, you know, to have freedom, not worry about crazy people. And then, you know, that's why I was telling my wife, you know, yeah, we'll probably go to America and visit, but I don't want to live there. There's just no way I want to raise my son there, our son. But, you know, just, what else can I say? You know, people ask me, like, why Vietnam? And, you know, the brainwashing of the television in America, you know, they want to make every country look so bad and terrible, you know, like, and we're the greatest, you know. It's just not true. You know, I've found that out by traveling. People just want to live happy and enjoy life. That's what people want around the world, mostly, from what I can see. But, you know, it looks like the battery is getting low. But I just want to explain like why I wanted to come here and why I am investing being here, you know. And, you know, just, and another thing I just want to say about America, when you get older, you know, you start realizing that everything's about money there. Everything is corrupt, you know, and they want to yell that everybody else is corrupt. But man, all these people that are, you know, government officials or whatever, senators or congressmen, they're all freaking corrupt. They're getting paid by people, you know, and when you get older, you start realizing that and you open your eyes. And, you know, it's not, they don't want what's best for the American people. They just do what's best for themselves. You know, and making money. You see senators, you know, making millions and millions on, you know, stock market, you know, or they're just fight against each other just to fight against each other. It's not something that'll make people live better. They're just fighting against each other the whole time. So I don't want to get political. I'm not a political person, but it's just frustrating to see how it's turned how it is, you know. And you don't realize that when you're younger because, you know, you're born and raised there. It just seems normal to you. But then when we get older, we start realizing and looking at things and when it comes to reality. So that's why I'm here. And I love this country here. I love the people. I really respect the Vietnamese people. I like living in their community. You know, they're hardworking people. They're nice people. And, you know, I really respect that, you know. You do see foreigners come here that are disrespecting the Vietnamese people, and I don't like that at all. You know, they come here drinking or they think they're better than people, and that really just, you know, drives me crazy because, you know, that's why I stay away from the expats. Not all of them, but a lot of them, you know, they're only here for a short term, but they still have that thinking in their head from their country. But so that's about it. I just wanted to let you guys know like how I met my wife and why I was here. And this turned into a long video. But so it's just going to call it a day for that. And, you know, so thanks for hanging out and listening to me rant and rave for a little bit. And I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. Holidays are coming up. And I'll see you real soon. All right. Thanks again. Bye-bye.